Welcome back to the channel. Remember, this is going to be a quick little video previewing the Bills and Panthers preseason game. For more updates on the podcast, a link to my Twitter will be in the comment section below. Alright, let's take a look at the game in hand for the Buffalo Bills for their final preseason game of the season, which is against the Panthers Friday night, 7 o'clock on WIVB TV here in Buffalo. Top headline coming into week 3 of the preseason for the Carolina Panthers was Baker Mayfield being named the starting quarterback over Sam Darnold. Remember, if you would want to go back, Mayfield was traded to the Panthers because Deshaun Watson replaced him in Cleveland during Watson's crazy trials and all that. But still, Mayfield was traded to the Panthers on July 21st of 2022, and 1 month to the day, he's named the starting quarterback for the Carolina Panthers over Sam Darnold, who, remember, last year started the season really, really well, but just struggled throughout the season after Christian McCaffrey got hurt. Heading into the final preseason game, Matt Rule hoped to have wide receiver Marshall ready to play Friday, also adding all wide receiver injuries are not long-term. Matt Rule did iterate today that he will play his starters until about the second quarter or heading into the second quarter. So we will see a healthy amount of Carolina starters to play in the final preseason game. Sean McDermott said today that he is not expecting to play any of his starters on Friday. He wants to give the second and third team more of an opportunity to strive. All right, some standout players from the preseason / camp for the Panthers was left guard Ikem Ekwonu, 6th overall pick in 2022 this year. They started him slow, the process slow, like with any rookie. Remember, like in any rookie, you want to start them slow so they can get the process of the NFL, the process of how to be a pro football player in this league. It's hard playing in the NFL, and especially as a young left guard who has to protect now, who is Baker Mayfield, the quarterback for the Panthers. So obviously, this is very important to the Panthers to have a steady offensive line with Baker Mayfield as their quarterback. So starting him slow during camp, he really was. He started slow. They started ramping up, and they thought, you know what, this guy could be our starting left guard heading into week 1. We'll have to see if it is true. There's still one more preseason game left in hand. All right. How about Xavier Woods, who previously was with Dallas and the Vikings and was a 6th round pick, and he was drafted by the Dallas Cowboys. So he started his first few seasons from 2017 when he was drafted to 2020 when he went into free agency of that year. He signed with the Vikings last season. He played 1 season and then did not return, and now he's with the Panthers. Woods did miss camp due to personal issues. He missed OTAs with personal issues. So really, he was one step behind with this defense. But Matt Rule said that he has improved in his communications with his mates, Jeremy Chim, and he's shown he has a lot of consistency. He's been very consistent, and he's fit in with the Panthers defense very, very well. And his head coach said that with all the time that he's missed, he's very impressed by how well he's been performing in camp and preseason practices for all that time that he missed during the spring season. A quick injury update on backup quarterback for them, Matt Corral, has been put on season-ending IR. Remember, he had that horrible leg injury that's going to end his season. For all rookie quarterback, it's so hard. You work so hard in college to get better, so you know you can be that really good starting quarterback in the NFL. Matt Corral has all the talents to be a starting quarterback in this league, but now we'll have to wait one more season in order to get that chance to start as a Panther or any other team. All right, now let's head to the Buffalo Bills team news heading into the third and final preseason game. Bills, remember, are coming off a 42-15 win against the Broncos last weekend. Allen went 3 for 3, 45 yards, and in that game, the offense looked like it was ready in midseason form. Remember, heading into that final preseason game was legit for the Buffalo Bills, and they looked in midseason form. Sean McDermott said they were going to play a healthy amount, whether that was one series, two drives, an entire half, maybe 2.5 quarters, whatever it was. We knew we were going to see Josh Allen last weekend, and a lot of us, myself and Sal Capaccio of WGR Sports Radio 550 here in Buffalo, thought that Josh Allen was probably going to get at least 2 to 3 series, probably an entire quarter, which is like 2 to 3 series. So he didn't. One series, he went 3 for 3, 45 yards, one touchdown, which was amazing, right? What quarterback would you expect with a new offensive coordinator, to go into to a preseason game not even knowing how well you're going to perform, and he performed like he was in midseason form. Remember, I mean, just look at it. If you watch the recap show of their win, I said the Bills will have the best offense in this league and the best defense with a Super Bowl ring on top of that. I mean, big expectations, right? Nah, it's not big expectations. It's bigger than it ever has been before in Buffalo. And it's continuing to get higher, and the expectations will always be high unless Josh Allen is not our quarterback. All right, so being met with reporters on Tuesday, something said about the Cody Ford trade. If you did not know, Bills trade their guard Cody Ford to the Arizona Cardinals for is either was for third or fifth round pick. He said, "I'll probably need to restructure our contract to account for replacement costs." All right, so according to Sal Capaccio of WGR Sports Radio 550 here in Buffalo, he went down and said either this week or next week that one contract will be restructured, either Deion Dawkins or Trey White contract. Either one might be restructured. Dawkins is making 8.1 million per year, and Trey White is making 9.9 million per year. So one of those contracts will be restructured in the coming days, according to Sal Capaccio. And Brandon Bean said that Cody Ford and the Cardinals pursued Ford aggressively, and there was also other teams in the hunt for Cody Ford. I would, by looking at that means the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were probably in pursuit. Maybe the Pittsburgh Steelers and the New York Giants, just to name a few, were probably in it for the Cody Ford trade. But Arizona were the aggressors in that trade. Sal also mentioned Dawson Knox practiced on Tuesday, while O-line Doyle and O-line Mehez and wide receiver Gentry did not practice. Remember, Dawson Knox practiced on Tuesday. That was the first time he practiced since the passing of his brother Luke Knox. And rest in peace, Luke. All prayers and everything goes to the Knox family. Being said in his presser on Tuesday that he will he will. Sorry, that just confusion here. People are talking in the background. Sorry, that's what's throwing me off here. That Doyle's injury is nothing long term. Nothing right now should be concerned about. Other updates for the Buffalo Bills for injury wise. Poyer. Poyer is fine. Being said, he said we'll go if it was regular season, but want him to be 100% for the opener. He is fine. Remember, he's dealing with that hyperextended elbow injury, which lingered throughout the entire camp session, and he did play one preseason game, which was it was week 1 against the Colts. He played in that game. Poyer and Hyde sat out last week's game for the Bills against the Denver Broncos. All right, the update also on Trey White. Trey White is doing good. Trey White is doing good. They said they want to. Being said, we're trying to run the clock here, which will give him some extra time to decide what they want to do with him. Obviously, they don't want to put him on the pup reserve list because that means he's out for at least the first 4 games, and the Bills need him for at least the first 4 games. The Bills next week we'll get into the Bills schedule and where might the Bills end up in a Bills season preview part 1 next week. That's to come. Just some extra content before the actual podcast gets going. Obviously, we don't have time. We don't have the final answer. I can't say he's going to be back on this day. Another quote by Brandon Bean, reported by Joe Bisqualia of The Athletic for the Buffalo Bills. McDermott said Allen and the starters will not play in the final game. Want to give the 2 and 3 team a fair look. Obviously, the 2 and the 3s, we're definitely going to have to look at the 2 and the 3s. There's obviously some spots in this Bills team on their offensive line where's the offensive line depth in that regard. Also, if you did not know, Matt Araiza has won the punter battle for the Buffalo Bills this season. Matt Hawk has been picked up by the Colts. Iterated earlier in the show, the Colts punter Sanchez was out the entire season due to an Achilles injury. So Araiza, who had that 80-yard punt in week 1 of the preseason, wins the job. I mean, he had no punts last week because the Bills didn't punt last week. They didn't punt once. They punt once. All right, what do I want to see out of the Bills coming out of the final preseason game or in the final preseason game? I want to see, can the O-line hold up like they did last week? Obviously, the Bills' offensive line had a really strong week last week. The running game, they opened up holes for the running game. They kept Allen and Keenum untouched, and they also left Barkley untouched. I mean, the Bills just really had a solid game up front. It just allowed things to flow. Like, we look like a really good offense. Also, I want to see, can Cook and Blackshear improve from week 2? They had a really good week 2, Blackshear and Cook. Both ran the ball well. Blackshear had 53 yards rushing. He averaged 11.8 per run. So they really had a really strong game last week, Blackshear and Cook. I want to see them improve from their strong last week. Do we find a solid slot receiver to co-op with McKenzie? That's a really big question, right? Who's going to be the second slot receiver? Is it Crowder? Is it Shakir? Or could it be both to co-op with Isaiah McKenzie in the slot? Because we all know Isaiah McKenzie, he's the number 1 for right now. But could Shakir or Crowder be that second really good option for the Bills? Also, finally continue to develop Elam and Benford. If White can't go week 1, Elam and Benford, it's either going to be one of those two guys that's going to get that number 1 corner that number 1 or 2 corner spot behind Dane Jackson, behind Trey White. If White can't play, Dane Jackson obviously will be on the field for the Buffalo Bills, or it could be Dane Jackson, Elam and Benford, or Benford, Elam, and whatever, whatever combos you can come up with. All right, we previewed the Bills and Panthers preseason game, the final preseason game of the season. Remember to hit up my Twitter in the comment sections below to get more updates on the podcast. Always updates available on my Twitter feed. These videos and clips that you are hearing, they're not a part of the official podcast. They are just previews and recaps for just the Buffalo Bills. My podcast will be much more broader, much more stated, much more just more informative about the NFL and the NHL. Remember, I'm doing both. I'm doing the NHL and the NFL, Bills, Sabres, whatever. Right now, it's just focused around the Bills right now, just until I can get better equipment. So follow my Twitter in the comment section below. Keep updated on important information about around the Bills and Sabres on my Twitter and the podcast that is coming out soon. Trying to get it out soon. I hope you guys can continue to follow me and understand that we're just having some difficulties around here. All right, thank you. Have a great day.